but they keep changing their minds on whether or not they want Fury alive. It's so funny because last episode, Rhodey was like, he's catching a bullet in the next 24 hours, or somebody is, whatever, just very nonchalantly. And then now we need him alive because he lied about the actual harvest, so we're not going to kill him, so we're going to let him go. And it's like, din, 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 din. What's up, y'all? DT2 Comics Chat here, ready to review Secret Invasion Episode 5, Harvest. Now, I have to say, I am kind of disappointed in this episode, and I'll tell you why as we go. This episode starts out with Gravik getting some pushback from those that are following him because he keeps changing his mind about his objectives, and the people, nobody really trusts anybody in this whole shebang, and I think that kind of chaotic tension is good, and that it makes sense that his troops would begin to question him, but then he just kills them with his group powers and moves on. That's not going to solve his problem long term. Also, we finally get to see and understand exactly what the harvest is, and that is the DNA left on the battlefield from the shed blood of all the Avengers. And that was the birth of the idea of the Super Skrull. Now, since we don't have the Fantastic Four, I guess they would have to go with the premier team and make a Super Skrull out of that. But if you think about a Skrull with the power of the Extremist Tech and Thor and Hulk and Captain Marvel, unless they meant to give, each Super Skrull one of those powers, but Gravik has more than one. He's got the Extremist Tech and his group powers, so I don't know where they were going with that, but holy cow, would that be one overpowered Super Skrull. And if you powered him up like that, he would immediately say, why do I have to follow Gravik? Okay, but at least we got to see what the harvest is, and, I still hope this leads to the Fantastic Four, but now I doubt it since it's clearly focused on the Avengers, and I understand that, but at least we have a clear idea of what it was. That makes sense. But the realization of that goal is way scary if they pull it off on any level. Next, I must say that I will be glad when Rhodey Skrull gets his, or hers, as the case may be, but he's so obnoxious. I hope he dies in the next episode, and I hope he dies really hard. Okay, so he kept Fury away from the president. Fury kept trying to warn the president, but Rhodey shows up anyway. And Rhodey makes his great statement that if you want to out me, you have to kill me. And you're not ready to die yourself. That was a good line. And then all of Rhodey's backup comes in and all that. But they keep changing their minds on whether or not they want Fury alive. It's so funny because last episode, Rhodey was like, he's catching a bullet in the next 24 hours, or somebody is, whatever, just very nonchalantly. And then now we need him alive because he lied about the actual harvest, so we're not going to kill him, so we're going to let him go. And it's like, din, 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 din. Okay, whatever. Once again, I had mixed feelings about any scene with Gaia. I really like Vara, and I really like the actress. Remember, she was Dyson's wife in Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, Teresa. So really like her. And I like the interchange that Vara had with Gaia, calling her out for being a young upstart and talking to her about what it means to build a life. But what I didn't like was the fact that Vara clearly wants to live. She said she was going to wait there for her executioners and she was going to follow that order and that protocol, but she fought back at every turn. She clearly don't want to die, so why not go on the run? Why act like, because if she wanted to die, she would have just stood there and let them shoot her, and she did not. And once again, Gaia is so flat. She's just so emotionless. Why is Emilia Clarke playing her that way? Why? Because it is just the momentum and the motion and the energy just slows down every time Gaia is on screen. So, but I did like their interchange, but I'm going to talk some more about the momentum a little bit later. So finally, we get Sonya again. Sonya is just great. She steals the show every time. That's how you write a snarky character. That's how you write a quippy character that doesn't get on your nerves and it fits with her personality. And you have to use it like a seasoning, like a spice, just a dash, just a touch. And it's great. Everybody's not supposed to talk like her. And no, I'm not saying she needs her own spinoff show. Like Agatha Harkness is going to be a mess because Agatha is an incredible supporting character and she's an incredible antagonist, but she don't need her own show, and neither does Sonya. So Sonya's being used to perfection right here, and I really love that. I have to ask, with, we saw Talos' dead body on the ground last episode, and now Gaia has it, and she's going to bury it or whatever. But I would have thought that would have been more of a scandal, but Rhodey Skrull threatens to release the video of Gravik as Fury shooting Agent Hill. and that's going to go around the world or whatever. So no matter what happens, it looks like Gravik has them pinned in terms of starting World War III and making sure that Fury is a wanted person. But, if they wanted to take him out, it's just like he said, it's just like Gravik's follower said, you have plenty of chances to take Fury out by now. You keep changing your mind and changing your plans, and why should we trust you? But it makes sense. And so World War III is going to be set in motion one way or the other. So Fury does this cool thing with Sonya where he goes to one of his graves, he blows on the grave, and that, opens it up, and he gets actually to harvest DNA. And I'm like, really? It was cool and everything. I thought it was really, really cool. I just thought the vial was kind of small, but what do I know? I'm not a, geneticist or whatever. The thing that aggravated me the most about this episode is that it's all wrong. The momentum is all wrong. This is not the kind of energy we should be having in the penultimate episode to the end of this series. I was really shocked at that because it slows down. We don't want to see Gaia faceless, emotionless, flat, worse than a Vulcan Gaia, because at least Vulcans are interesting. We don't want to see her mourning her dad. We don't want to see the Skrull ritual of them burying her dad and Vara talking about, he was a leader or whatever. We don't care. Now, I did like seeing both Vara and Gaia fighting their attackers, but you knew that was going to happen, and you knew they were going to take them all out, but it's still cool to see because Emilia Clarke does sell that well. Okay, so it's good to see Khaleesi in action, one more time. But this whole thing was somber and slow, and still everybody kind of double crossing. And I'm like, we've established the players. We've established the stakes. We've established the countdown clock. Why are we still doing this? So at the end, Fury turns back into the Fury we know, meaning he puts his eye patch back on, and he puts his coat back on, and he puts his hat back on, and he gets his guns, and, it's time, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And Sonya asks the question that the audience has been screaming since the beginning of this series. Why don't you just call the Avengers? And he's like, no, it's personal. And then he reveals that he was married to Vara. He had a Skrull wife. And Sonya gets that shocked look of realization on her face. But that was lame. That's not a good enough reason to not call the Avengers. The only ones still available would be Captain Marvel, Thor, and Hulk. But that's still plenty. There's still plenty of Avengers to come help, make this situation turn out in the favor of the humans. So sometimes you can write so many twists and turns, you write yourself into a corner, because I'm already kind of pre-disappointed in the next episode. I haven't seen it yet. I could be wrong. I know that could be totally wrong, but I just don't think it's going to have the impact. I just don't think it's going to have the closure. I don't think it's going to stick the landing like we wanted to, because this episode is supposed to ramp up. The last 5 minutes, I guess, is a ramp up with Fury becoming Fury again, but the tone, the momentum, the somberness, everything was all wrong. This should be the pre-chaos to the final chaos, and it is, but not in a large enough measure. We wanted to see, do you remember all the Ripleys from Alien Resurrection? We want to see the failed Super Skrull clones. We want to see the attempt to merge a Super Skrull with Captain America or Captain Marvel. Even if it fails, we want to see them trying to realize what they've been talking about. We've seen glimpses of the extremist tech, but I mean, it's a technique I call putting the camera in the wrong place, focusing your audience on the exact wrong thing, the last thing that they want to see, and that's going to bore them to tears. So I really don't know how this is going to pan out. I will bet money that Maria Hill is coming back. It'll be interesting to see how she comes back, if she's been a Skrull all along too, as everybody suspects, which is really going to be a trip. All in all, I finished this episode feeling kind of meh, and that's not how I wanted to feel with episode 5. I wanted to finish this episode just with great anticipation, great energy. Couldn't wait to get a hold of the next one, but it is what it is. So I hope there's strong emotional payout, because there's been a lack of that in writing in the last several years. So I hope that Rhodey Squirrel really gets his. I hope that Vara gets away. I do not want to see her die, and she clearly don't want to die. I hope Gaia maybe, has a potato chip and grows an emotion. I hope that the resolution between the Super Skrull Gravik and whatever else Fury has up his sleeve is worthy. I hope it's not something that they just pull out of thin air, something that, just is something we didn't see coming. But like when you introduce a player that hasn't been a part of the game and they come in and save the day at the last minute, remember that's what we thought was going to happen with Captain Marvel. So thankfully they didn't do that. I hope they don't do that here. But I mean, I don't know. I guess my confidence is taking a little bit of a hit as to whether or not they can really close this out in a strong way. Again, I give this episode a meh, but I am going to watch the finale because we do want to see how it ends. We also want to see what this is a springboard to, because Marvel can't make anything that's not an advertisement and a commercial for the next thing. So whatever next episode is going to be full of that. I'm hoping it's the Fantastic Four, or at least the X-Men. I really am. So that's it for this episode. That's it for this review. I want you to give me some comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. If you feel as mad as I do about this episode, or if you really thought, it nailed it and you can't wait to see how it all turns out, or what. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. So don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you know when I go live, because I go live during random times during the week, and I drop lots of different videos and TV and movie reviews all the time. Don't forget to check out my latest rant room on time travel, because we were having a very interesting conversation on Twitter about that, and I always said the Avengers Endgame version of time travel is the weakest. But I went through just about every sci-fi movie geek version we have, so don't forget to check out that video. I'll actually put it in the cards up front so you can click right on it. And I'll see you next time for the finale review of Secret